What's up, everybody? It's Kyle back here with another episode of the Soundstage here with NLFX. I am super excited to have our guest today. His name is Jabril. He's from the ATL. Jabril, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey man, this is Jabril Najee, also known as Hollywood J. I'm the director of magical experiences at the Society. Um, Big nod to ATL, Kyle, but we also got to show some small town love. So we're actually about an hour outside of ATL, small town, big town called Macon, Georgia. But for all intents and purposes, if you need to pinpoint it on the map, ATL is the home, G.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, and I appreciate that. Macon, that's always a great distinction. As a person from a small town myself, I always love those shout outs. Hey, we're close to the big city, but small towns too. So
Oh yeah.
small towns for life for me. But Jabril, I'm so excited to have you here. One, I love you what you call yourself. You're the director of magical experiences. And that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today because you do some crazy things with the society down there. You really taking, I want to transform your space and make it into an experience as opposed to an event. I think is really crazy. And throughout this whole thing, if you guys are watching on YouTube here, um, I have some really cool things that he sent me that we'll put up different things where he's transformed rooms, some befores and afters, so you guys can take a look at that. So if you guys are usually listening to us on Apple Podcast or Spotify, you may want to take a look at the YouTube video on this one just to see some of those really sweet transformations. But I want to start kind of back from the beginning. So you're from Georgia. You run the company, the Society. So how did you get started? How did you get into DJing? How did you get into this whole thing?
So my DJing story is actually, pretty sure it's relatable, but man, it was one of those things where somebody approached me one day because I did music. I used to rap way, way back in my younger days, man. But somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I need somebody to DJ a wedding. Can you do it?" And I wasn't a stranger to saying yes to everything at the time. So I said, sure. So I showed up with a milk crate, a laptop, and plugged into the church's sound system and did the wedding. And from then on, I've been a DJ. The story where it really started taking off and me taking it serious came about 5 or 6 years later, where I had to get out of this I'm going to get there mentality to I'm going to create this reality now mentality. And I decided to change my mind state from I'm getting and I'm trying to I'm doing. And that's where we are today. That was around 2017, 2018, and the rest was history.
And that's awesome, and that's a super relatable thing. Hey, you like music, come and do things. I think that's relatable for a lot of people.
Oh
So
yeah. It's like the
you
people
said
that say, "Oh, you do photos. Can you shoot? Can you do my videography too?" And
yeah,
two totally different things, but you learn it along the way.
absolutely. And I love the mentality, and there's a lot that's a kind of a common thread with a lot of people I've been talking to on here is yes, and then I'll figure it out. Hey, yeah, I can do that, and then you kind of figure out how you can do it. So I think that's a really relatable thing, which is awesome. Um, so that's how you got into DJing. So the Society is that what you created out of your part-time business? Hey, I want to take this seriously, and you just called it the Society, or where did that name come from?
So when I first started dabbling in everything, I had a company called Franchise Society. My vision was expansion, scalability. I wanted to be able to have my hands and my stamp on things. So franchise was a mentality for me. That took maybe about the first 8 years of my career where we were doing things from running a blog to web design to flyer design, artist management. We had our hands in a lot of things, jack of all trades, master of none. Over the when I finally decided to take this seriously, when it finally hit and I said I'm about to start doing, I wanted to rebrand to something that was more elegant, something that spoke to my target clientele. And so we
Mm-hmm.
dropped the franchise part and we just simply went with society because my vision at that time was I wanted it to be a type of experience where we just pull up and we do. Like I'm imagining black trucks, black vans pulling up. We hop out all black, the logos, but we're real incognito. We set everything up and we create the experience and then we're behind the scenes. The party's not about us. The show is not about us. The show is about the guests. We're just there to make it happen. The show is about the guest of honor, those so on and so forth.
That's really awesome. That whole Men in Black situation.
Exactly, exactly. And I
To
felt
just
like the
show up and hey,
society.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
society
we're not
spoke to
actually
that.
here. Yeah, don't look behind man behind the curtain, a little bit of all that. I think that's a really cool and that's a really different way of thinking about it. Of just, hey, I just want to be there, show up and then disappear. You're going to, you're MC and you're DJing the whole thing kind of thing, but other than that, you're just kind of, oh, I'm just here to do, what we're here to. So I think that's a really cool way to think about that, and a really different way for a company to think also. There's so many people who want to get out there and say, "Oh, hey, it's me. I'm here. We did all this. Get out in front of it." But you're just like, "No, we're just here. We just do everything in the background." I think is a really cool and different approach. So, my kudos
Yeah, I
to you on
mean,
that.
and if I may expound a little bit, one of the
Yeah,
things we see often, with most DJ companies, and not saying this is a bad thing, a lot of times it's going to be the focus on the entertainer because that really is what sells and that's what markets. I've never thought of myself as an entertainment first company. I think of myself as an experience first company. So it's not, to me, it's not about the talent that we bring in. It's not about even the equipment that we bring in. It's about the experience that we bring in. So if you notice in any of my marketing materials, anything that we actually promote, I'm never selling a person. I have a great staff. I have great DJs. I have great MCs. I have great setup staff and technical teams. Even myself, I don't even consider myself as the main selling point, nor anyone on my team. When people book my brand, they're booking us for what the brand is known for. That'll live long beyond the time that I'm here on this earth. So for me, it's about creating something that, is timeless, something that speaks for itself and the brand itself and is not tied to a name.
and again, that's a really smart way to do it and not tie everything back to yourself. Because then, if you're not there, they're like, okay, well, then the society doesn't exist. No, if the society is just a society, doesn't matter who's there. Again,
Yes,
that's
sir.
a really cool and really different way than a lot of people think. So, again, kudos to you for thinking of it that and taking that approach, because a lot of people wouldn't. I think as DJs we're inherently a little selfish because we kind of want to be the center of attention, because hey, I want to be up in front of everybody, being the reason they're dancing and having fun of the music and all that. So being able to remove yourself from that, again, I think a lot is a really cool thing that you're able to do.
I
um
appreciate that, man.
yeah, absolutely. um so as you're going through and you're thinking about all these different things that you've done over the years, something that I do like to talk to people is, what is it that keeps bringing you back week after week? Because obviously we have COVID, we have good seasons, we have bad seasons, we have great events, we have obviously horrible events. What is it that keeps the society going every week, and what is it that keeps bringing you back and keeping you engaged and excited to keep doing it?
I actually kind of went through a little rut, if you would say, earlier this year, and I was trying to get focused back on my why. And, in that journey, over a course of X amount of events, I realized that a common thing that always gave me the most joy was my client's happiness. And I think for me, it's not even just about getting out there and creating the art. It's not about doing something new. It's about the appreciation and the joy that we bring to our clients when we create. And for me, it's the do and the reciprocate piece of it. That is what keeps me going every single day.
That's that's awesome. I think that's a really awesome vision to have, and a good reason to keep doing what you're doing, just to keep making people happy. Because there's not a lot of jobs that you get to do that, where you get to be the reason people are excited and celebrating and doing that. And
Or
again,
that you're the reason why.
yeah, 100%, yes. Um, that's a really great feeling, and I've always thought that many times. I tell myself, really, like I get paid to do this. You get to be there on a lot of people's, hopefully one of the best days of their lives, and you're one of the main reasons it's happening, is a really sweet thing. So as you're thinking back on that, is there a specific example of one or two things that really stick out in your mind as one that, man, I can't believe that I was part of that, man, I can't believe that we were able to pull that off, any of that kind of stuff? Is there something that really sticks in your mind, like, wow, I can't believe we did that?
Oh, absolutely. It's very recent too. I sent you, it's one of the before afters that I sent you. So we
Okay.
did a bar mitzvah.
Be right here.
First, yep, first bar mitzvah we've ever done. So we only ended up having 2 months to pull it off because that was in November. We ended up booking that in September. So I had to figure out, okay, how are we going to pull this off? And I'm big on if I'm, I talked about how somebody came to me and said, "Do you DJ?" I said, "Yes." Well, that kind of works when you don't have anything going on. Once
Yeah.
you have a lot going on, you have to practice the art of either saying no or I'm going to delegate this. And so
Okay.
we did our first bar mitzvah. And I ended up connecting with Explosive Entertainment out of New Jersey. They do a lot of bar mitzvahs up there. They're one of the bar mitzvah kings of the East Coast. So we ended up subcontracting and partnering up on the MC work with them. Flew one of their guys in, and we handled the entire production. We did some projection mapping. We did lighting. We brought out big sound, big lighting. We also handled the DJing, and then we made sure that the master of ceremony duties running that timeline, making sure that all of the special formalities, the religious aspect of it was covered correctly through the MC side of it. It was a lot of moving parts, I would say, because it's one thing to do it and then it's one thing to bring somebody else and do it and also make sure that
Yeah.
they're up to speed on your culture. When I tell you,
Absolutely.
you would have thought we've been working together for 10 years plus the way everyone just came together. And I think the client felt that too, because the client was just blown away. Everyone on my team walked away from that night with individual $500 tips from the client.
Wow. Very nice.
So that was just, hey, that was one of the biggest things in my mind, and it's super recent where we did it. We were proud of the work, but not only that, the client was blown away by the work. If you could see the look on the birthday boy's face when he walked in his bar mitzvah, that like that, those times like that are just priceless, man.
Yeah. It was worth all the thing, and I think that that gets me to a thing that I talk about here all the time. And I know when I met you, what was it? WNBA 2021. We met, I think.
Yep, 2021.
Um, yeah. One of the first things that we talked about when we met, I was with Jesse and them. You were with your wife, and the collaboration, not being afraid to reach out to that company in New Jersey. Hey, you know what? This isn't my wheelhouse. I can do the sound, I can do all that stuff. But I want to make sure that they have the exact experience they want for this specific thing they're looking for. And I know that we can't provide that. But being able to find that and bring it in, I think is awesome. And I you shouldn't ever see your colleagues as competition, they're resources. You know,
Exactly.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's awesome that you're able to do that for them.
Yeah. Ever since I started, one of the biggest things I looked around and said is, how many people get married every weekend? How many events happen every weekend? I can't do them all. I mean, I would love to, but I can't. I'm big on collaboration. Um, that's super important because at some point in time, everyone's going to need somebody. We can't do it all alone.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful way to do it and to think about it. Um, okay, so the next thing I'm going to jump right into this stuff because I think this is going to take us a long time to talk about is kind of the equipment on your end. So again, we'll have a montage going on randomly throughout here to see some of the before and afters for everybody. But I really want to get into all the stuff that you're talking about with the projection mapping and the different lighting and everything. You guys are having you got props and all this other stuff that you guys are bringing into events. I saw that the one with the baby shower, which was amazing. I like that one a lot. Um, so just kind of tell me what got you started on that path. Like, hey, let's not just do a great event. Let's not do this. Let's transform a space and take people to a jungle, or how did all that start?
I feel like there's three tiers to the business that we're in.
Okay.
You have you have the bottom of the pack, the
Mm-hmm.
people that are just happy to do what they do, and it's the easiest price for entry. Then you have your middle of the tier where I'm going to do enough to be better, but I'm not about to break my back trying to be great. And that's a cool tier to be at too. Then you have just this rare air that's above that where it's late nights, research, training, dedicating yourself to your craft. I'm talking Kobe Mamba mentality, sports greats, how they practice and accelerate their craft. The names that you know are those people that put in that extra. 1% or extra 10% for 1,000% return. And that top of the pack is where I saw myself and where I want it to be. A is less competition there. It's a lot of hard work, but
For
it's less
sure.
competition. You fall within the middle of the pack, you get lost in the sauce. In my opinion, the people that are winning are the top and the bottom.
Okay.
So pick one.
Yeah,
Don't
sure.
get stuck in the middle. But
Yeah.
that's kind of where it started, was deciding that I wanted to stand out. I didn't want to get lost in just another mix of everything that was going on already. I needed to be able to set myself apart for my clients to not only see it but believe it. And so one day in 2017, when we decided to take it serious, I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to go all out. I looked at my wife and I said, we're about to do this, baby. And the rest was history. And then, of course,
Did she
I
look
got in
at you like
contact.
you're crazy or?
Yeah, she's seen some of the invoices I've gotten from Ben. She still looks at me like I'm crazy
Yeah,
sometimes.
for sure. I think we all have that spouse, which is good that they do that. Don't get me wrong; it's a good thing that they check us on that sort of thing. But yeah,
But she
I think that's a
supports
really
it
cool.
100%, dude. Like, it's one of those things where she's the balance to, if we have gear acquisition syndrome or we're not, it's like, do we really need to do this? But if it's time to say, hey, let's do this and it makes sense, oh, she's 100% on board. She's been around and die for real.
Yeah, which I is something that I don't think that I talk about enough, and I know that we haven't talked about on the podcast here enough. Is they are kind of the unsung heroes, our spouses, um, because they put up with the insanity that is what we do a lot of times.
Absolutely.
Not just from a financial aspect, but for the idea of, hey, no, I really want to do this thing. I know nobody else is doing it, but I know it's going to work, and so I know we want to do it. And then I just on my side, kind of like yours, exactly what you're saying. She's my sounding board. I'll go out and say, hey, this is my thought, and she never tells me no, but she makes me justify why it's going to work.
Yep.
And if I can explain it well enough to her where she's like, I see where you're going, let's go ahead and do this. Or if I stumble on a thing and I can't really think of a question, she's like, so have you really thought it all the way through? Because we don't all think the same. So I think it's a
And
great way to.
Oh, absolutely. And also to your partners, they sacrifice with you. So, if for every long night that you're putting in hard work, every time that you're on an event, they're not with you. That's also companionship time that's not being spent. So there's a push and a pull in that type of relationship. And so, also having that understanding that your spouse is sacrificing just as much as you and showing that appreciation goes a long way too.
Oh yeah, and I now with being a father of four,
Mm.
um, she puts up with a lot of shenanigans while I'm gone. You know,
Oh yeah.
partying with the the wedding groups and all that sort of thing. So she she's a saint in the whole thing, and I can't thank her enough. And obviously, I'm so happy that you feel the same way. So so let's get into some of those invoices that people like Ben and everything receive from you. So when you're doing all these different things that you're talking about with the projection mapping and all that kind of stuff, what kind of equipment are you using? So if there's somebody who's listening that wants to get into that, what sort of stuff should they be looking for?
So the biggest thing on projection mapping, I'm still learning myself, man. It's one of those things that is constantly evolving. Um, it takes years of mastery. It's really art, but on the equipment side, it's it's a fairly linear path, man. Equipment side is you need a good projector, of course. You need a good way to mount your projector. In terms of the equipment that I use, we use 5.5K Optima projectors that we got from Ben. Um, we mount them on top of gravity stands, get them high up in the air. And then software wise, you got to have something to control it. And then we're talking, in my case, Resolute Marina. You can also use things like Mad Mapper. There's some things that I think there's some people that actually prefer Mad Mapper for those type of things because it specializes in it. We use
Okay.
Resolute because we're running our entire production through it. So
Okay.
you've seen in some of my pictures or my videos, we run vertical screens, we're running projectors with visuals on them, our screen in our DJ booth. We have a lot of visual work that's going on, and I'm able to control that from one brain. And so that's the reason we ended up sticking with Resolute Marina. And we actually did a presentation on it last year at Harvest of Sound. Um, for the people that might have missed it, I don't know if they ever posted that video, but there's a lot that you can do with the softwares and tools to bring it to life. It's definitely a big leap from just playing video straight out of virtual DJ.
Oh yeah. As a person who does that, I can attest that I've seen Resolume, and as techie as I am, it makes the hair I don't have stand on end. So,
Yeah,
it is kind of crazy. So when you're talking about
I was,
doing, the go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, if you're talking about Resolume and the learning curve, it's like editing a video in Premiere Pro and working on a picture in Photoshop at the same time in real time. And so you have to be really efficient. And if you look at the videos for it, man, it's one of those things like when we talk about those late nights, that's a late night thing that you're going to spend on it. Because if you just go on YouTube and search for tutorials for Resolume, man, you're going to find at least 1,000+ videos.
Yeah, and they're not always a bad thing to go and look at those first before deciding, hey, this is really something I want to do.
Exactly.
Um, but so when you're doing when you're mapping and you say you got the different projectors and everything, so are you mirroring images? Are you doing all different images and you're just spreading it across two or three different projectors? How are you doing all that?
Yeah, so in my case, I make one canvas for the wall. So we do, let's say we're running two projectors side by side. Those are typically going to be a 32 by 9 aspect ratio,
Okay.
basically a double ultra wide screen, if you
Mm-hmm.
imagine it that way. So
Yep.
we just project the entirety of what we're doing across one long canvas, and then we map it from there. And so each of the projectors are getting a singular feed, but it's just split between the two,
Right. And
half
then
on
you
one, half on the other.
yeah, and then you just set them up exactly where they need to be to match the whole wall.
Yep. And then from there, you also have to, if we're getting a little more technical, that's when you actually have to keystone and you have to blend it to match the wall. Because if you've ever placed a projector before, you know that that thing is never just pointed straight at the wall. You're going to have an angle somewhere. And so that's another reason why I love using Resin, because I don't have to worry about projector placement as much, because I can go in through the software and I can keystone to actually match the wall. So I can have that projector at a 90 degree angle to the wall, or 45-degree angle, if you will, and still have it looking like I'm
And
pointing
still
it
make it
straight
look
at
like
the
it's
wall.
coming front on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I'm seeing a lot in the things is you're doing a lot of side and down lighting. So are you doing that again with gravity stands, or are you attaching stuff to false ceilings, all that kind of like what do you how are you accomplishing all that?
Man, I'm up on 10 feet ladders, 8 foot ladders. If we're doing pin spots, for instance, I love getting in a room with drop ceilings, but I hate the fact that I'm going to climb up that ladder at least 80 times before the night is over.
Yeah, that's fair.
But so that's why we're doing the pin spots. Yeah, we're up on ladders for that. And then of
Do you
course
use the scissor ones, or how do you attach
now we
them?
got them. We use the magnetics. The
Okay,
easy pin zones, similar to the fuel
hmm,
system.
gotcha. Sweet. Make it easier, but still, it's still a lot.
Man, when I tell you, there's got to be an easier way, and if there is, I haven't figured it out yet. That's my next project.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the gist of it. We used to do them on gravity stands, though. To go back to your earlier question,
Uh-huh.
um, you're familiar with the Echo Cube, right? The one that
Hmm.
has like the 10 lights, looks like an alien. So
Yep.
we used to do those, but if you know anything about pin spots, you know that directly overhead is always the best look. If you shoot from an angle, you're going to get some overthrow. You're only going to cover one side of a centerpiece, so on and so forth. And we wanted to get away from that, because the look is way better when you can get overhead and attach it to something. But
Yeah.
the work is a whole lot more. Like we used to be able to set up 10 spots on a gravity stand in less than 10 minutes. But if I'm setting them up on drop ceilings up and down that ladder, you're talking about an hour-long job just to cover 20 or 24 tables.
But that also comes back to I'm dedicated to the process of making the experience.
Exactly. It's worth the work.
Yeah, it's worth the work to you and it's worth the work to your client to pay for that because they know that you are going to take the time. You're going to take the hour and a half to go up and above all their tables, get everything set exactly like it needs to be, and not be the one that comes in and puts it on a gravity stand and calls it good from the side.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. So again, that's another way that you're, hey, I'm setting myself aside or apart because I do it this awesome way that takes 10 times as long, but for the, for good reasons. So, so then, so that's on the lighting side, and then you obviously do all sorts of wireless uplighting and stuff. Do you happen to know which uplights you use?
Oh yeah, Freedom Flexes, man. Freedom
Sure.
Flex H4s, a
Okay.
lot of damn money, but at the end of the day, they have lasted me a long time. We're on our first set of that we acquired, going on 6 years now, and they're still
Okay.
going strong. Batteries last, no drain. Uh, so definitely a bigger investment than some of the newer uplights around. Not to say I wouldn't have made a different decision had I started today. Like things like both lighting and things like that weren't around when I started getting
Yeah.
uplights. But
Yeah.
the removable battery, waterproof, we can do some crazy
Yeah.
stuff with it.
Yeah. I was to say they've come out with the H9s now
I
with
saw.
Chauvet, and we got some really awesome promo pricing right now going on through the end of the week here. So until the 22nd of November, if you're listening to this, we've got some great deals from Chauvet on those. So if you're looking to potentially upgrade to H9s, we can get you some
Hey
great
man,
pricing right now.
and those things are so sexy. The snap-on white plate to
The white
switch from a
covers.
white fixture to a black fixture, man, it's like those are so versatile. Like that was
Yeah.
genius. No, no
Yeah.
more uplight covers.
Yeah, it was a really smart thing that they did, and I applaud them for doing it because they didn't have to, because everybody kept saying, oh well, can you bring them out in white? Can you do this? And they're like, well, how about instead of making a whole new SKU, we just make these covers that slide right over it, and then you can use them however you want to, and then you don't have to buy two sets of lights,
Exactly.
which is also really nice. So it's actually saving you quite a bit of money. Um, so those are what you do for lighting. Is there anything else that you use on the lighting side? Because again, from the visuals that we've been showing people throughout here, the visual is really the impact and the stunningness that I notice when I see your posts, and I'm sure when people walk into that room, oh my gosh, the light, because lighting really transforms a room a lot. Is there anything else in there that you want to talk about that you use?
So, we get into some conventional fixtures too. I would say the uplighting, the pin spots, and the projection are like really the bread and butter of what you see. But you also get into some excellent things, like for instance, what I got in my background going on. We throw some wash effects. We can do like a
Mhm.
nice wash in certain areas that we want to have like a dynamic color on.
Yeah.
Things like the source fours when we want to do some textured patterns or some classic monogram projections, spotlights. Um, Also some of the Fresnels, the Eve, what is it, the E50Z? No, the F50Zs actually.
Oh, sure.
Using those for like lighting a sweetheart table. There's some venues that we've gone in and we've straight up just clamped those to the ceiling or bolted them to the ceiling. And we use those to wash the entire head table, sweetheart table, instead of having to do a pin spot on them so that they stand out more. And then also when we talk about dance lighting, we always look at it as what can we use as a multi-purpose fixture because it's not about just having high energy all the time. And one of
Yeah.
my favorite lights that's out, the Intimidator Hybrid 140s.
Okay.
I know they just came out with a new one. I still can't find any
Yeah.
information on those yet.
The 251. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
launched it. They haven't actually started shipping yet, but yeah, they just launched them. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're really good. They're about the same price, but they're double the output.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
to see what the specs on those are like completely. But having a beam spot washer is really helpful because we also do some of the highlight work with that too. So things like a
Right.
first dance, we'll put truss on all four corners of the dance floor, and we'll have not a spot on them. We'll actually use the frost lens so that we can cover the entire dance floor in white while the rest of the room is dim. Videographers love that sometimes unless they bring their own lights, but we're able to
Yeah.
control it via DMX. So we're able to adjust in any moment that we need to with just about any of our fixtures, whether we need to dim something, turn it off, adjust it, change how it looks, the color. We're pretty much equipped for everything on the fly.
Well, and that's nice. The ones that you're talking about, like the 140s and the wash FX and all that kind of stuff. when you're in that static part of the evening doing the dinner, doing the toast, doing the thing, they can still be that awesome thing. But then, like you said, as soon as it's time to dance, they can suddenly become part of the party and they can add
Mhm.
to that whole room experience of, hey, this is all what's going on. So, no,
Yeah, my
that's
clients, when we're explaining it to the clients, we call it the Las Vegas experience. Because one of the things about Vegas is not what it's known for is the lights. But if you
oh, yeah.
ever just walk through Vegas, you notice that sometimes there's an intentionality to the way that it's lit. It's not always high energy. Um, and so when we start the evening, we're generally given like that static, that elegant look, that welcoming lighting look.
Mm-hmm.
I like to call rooms that don't have any lighting, and pardon my French, I don't know if you got to cut this part out, but we call them dry ass weddings,
Sure.
dry ass events, because it just looks ashy without light. Lighting really just illuminates and it adds like a sheen to the room. And then when it's time for the party to start, man, it's like Las Vegas. You're gonna see beams going through the air. You're gonna see chases. You're gonna see strobes. We want you to feel like you really walked into a concert or a high energy rave party when you walk into your dance floor. And that's what most of the clients that come to me for that type of lighting, that's exactly what they're looking for.
No, I think that's a really cool way to explain it too. You know, the way you can change everything. So I think you're doing fantastic in that part. So, um, so then, is that all the different lighting stuff that you have? Um, you want to switch it
Man,
over to audio. So, what kind of audio stuff are you guys running? Let's start. Let's just work backwards in the chain. So, all your sound is coming out of.
UI 24R, digital mixer,
Okay.
similar to, you got the Behringer, what is it, the X Mix,
X-wing or whatever. Yeah.
X Air, something like that. But yeah, it's a rack mount digital mixer. Love the sound, aux outputs, all the
Cool.
channels.
So, what are you pushing it to? Are you loyal to a brand as far as speakers go, or are you just whatever is going to work for the situation?
I'm still developing my brand loyalty.
Okay.
So I would say right now the top two for me are EV and RCF.
Yeah.
And the EV recently really became a favorite of mine when we went to not Harvest the Sound, the Lighting and Audio Symposium, that Mike Fernino does out in
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
That was at the EV headquarters. So we got a chance to really see how their production goes. We got to see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And man, they have some crazy stuff going on with the way they engineer. So I'm a really
Yeah.
big fan of their sound. And then RCF, of course, you just cannot beat the clarity and the output on them.
Yeah. They're both right up. They're fantastic. And again, you talk to most DJs and live sound, EVRCF, they're all right up there, unless they're going up to like L Acoustics and Martin Audio.
Six.
All that.
Yep.
Some of those big
Hmm.
things. They're really as good as you get. So let's say you're coming out normal wedding. What are you bringing out to? Just a small 150 person event. What kind of sound are you bringing?
Oh, the Evolve 50s, man. Man, we get in, set two subs down, pop the poles in, pop the tops on, we're ready to go.
Heck
And
yeah.
of course, if we throw some IEMs on them for the wireless audio transmission, we can be up and playing in 10, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take too long, which is really nice. And then if you're doing a big school production, something like that, what are you bringing out for the big boys?
Oh, so we're bringing out some RCS for that. We're bringing out the
Okay.
NLX, the NXL 24A tops, the columns,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and then we're bringing out some 21-inch 8005 AS subs.
8005s, nice. So I have the 8004s, um, which are pretty great in and of themselves. So I'm sure the 8005s are even better. But
Man,
um,
they surprised me when they came in, man. Them 8005s are like the size of a couple of small children. Like they are big
yeah, they're not small. Yeah,
at
but I mean, you
all.
got to think about that. It's a 21-inch speaker. I mean, that's a big speaker, and then
So
you got to
here's
be
the
able to
funny thing.
house everything in it.
And so before I bought that sub, man, the largest sub that I owned was a 15, a Behringer 15. So it was a really big surprise.
Yeah. I think Jeremy Clark said it, and that's like weaning a baby off of a bottle and going straight onto port liquor. Like that's that's a very
Oh
big
yeah,
jump. It's
man,
not.
a really big jump, really big
Yeah,
jump.
yeah, for sure. Um, Okay, so we got that. And so are you guys standard across like for your microphones, your decks, all that kind of stuff, or are you just kind of preference for DJs? How you guys running those?
We're pretty standard. All of my guys as well pretty much love the brands I love. So
Okay.
Newmark NS73 is my daily driver for myself. We have that
Okay.
built into our toll booth. Newmark and I think Rain are like Rain is the
Yep.
successor or something like that.
Yeah, pretty
The
much.
Rain Performer is like on my major wish list. Like if my NS73 decides to say, "Hey, I don't want to work anymore," the Rain Performer is going in this place.
You
Um,
can get. We have really good deals on those right now at NLFX. Just saying.
hey, I will
I
keep that in mind.
I have two in the Kyle Dietrich warehouse right now, so I can send you one.
Hey, I might have to actually get in touch with you, man. The
Heck yeah.
crossfader on my NS73 has been acting funny, so
Right.
we might have to talk. Uh,
All right.
microphones. I mean, I'm a big fan of Shure. That's
Okay.
really the only. That's the brand I knew before I started.
I
So
think it's
Shure
I
was
think
the
it's kind of
first.
the one that everybody hears of first when they
Yep.
start.
You
Sure.
walk in
Yeah.
Guitar Center, you're gonna see Shure. And
Yep.
so we had some cheapos, and then we ended up going ULXDs. A whole lot more mic than what we need for a lot of what we do.
Yeah.
But it means when we get that call for a rental or somebody needs something that's rider ready, we're ready for that. Uh, Sennheiser is not a bad tool either. They've been coming out with some really nice stuff that I've been keeping my eye on. But Shure is just really where we've been. Sennheiser on the actual IEM side of things for us.
Hmm.
And I think that kind of sums it up, man. Shure audio
Okay.
wireless, Sennheiser transmission, Soundcraft
And
mixing, and
so when
Newmark
you're
Rain.
transmitting, are you just transmitting to wireless locally, or are you going to remote speakers? How are we doing that?
Yeah, we're going to remote speakers. So
Okay.
we that's the another reason I love the UIs because I can control the delay from my aux is straight in it.
Yeah.
So speakers like the Evolve 50s, they have built-in delays, which help if I'm running all on the same channel. But
Right.
in those cases where I might want to send something to my RCFs and then something to my let's just say LD Maui 5 goals, which don't have built-in delays, I can
Yeah.
control all of that straight through my mixer.
Okay. So we got some LD system Maui 5 goes too. I have a couple. I got a couple of those too. I've become a big fan of the Everse 8s just because I think they sound
I was
great
about to
for their
say
size.
they sound amazing, dude. Like the Maui 5 goals were good for the time that we had them,
It was
but
they were the
that's
only really good battery powered
only
speaker.
one. But that sound, man, it's just not as clear as the Everse 8s. The Everse 8s just sound so crisp.
Yeah, that's for sure. I've been a big fan of those ever since they came out, and I can't praise them enough. But again, the My Five goes for when they came out. I think they were a bit ahead of their time. Just
Yep.
nobody was really doing battery powered speakers. Nobody really wanted to get into that space. You don't need to do that. But now that everybody kind of wants to, you know,
Yeah, yep.
uh,
And they
so
last like the battery on those last forever too.
yeah. Well, and the fact that they had replaceable ones that were so easy to replace,
Hot swap.
um,
Yep.
yeah, which is really nice also. Okay, so that's what we got on there. Do you have a favorite piece of equipment? Something that you know what I couldn't do what I do without it. I just love it. I look forward to using it. Anything like that.
My toll booth.
Yeah.
That toll
Sorry.
booth, man. Best investment ever.
Yeah. It really is. I'm a huge fan of Danny Max, and Danny Max is a huge supporter of NLFX, and I appreciate that. But
So let
man,
me take it back though. So when I say toll booth, I say that also in the context of something that you can pre-wire and bring out and
yeah,
limit your setup time. Um, I know that for me, the toll because I wanted to stream, but you got stuff in the Danny Max booth, which are amazing as well.
yeah.
I think do you all carry the bun,
We don't
the
carry
command
it,
center?
but we work with Joe quite a bit. Like we make
Yeah,
the
the bun
panels and
command
everything
center is
for him.
another one too.
Yeah. No,
So
they're
yeah,
DJ furniture in general. Yeah.
yep. So if I had to really summarize it to be as politically correct as possible, I
Sure.
would say investment in DJ furniture.
Yeah. I think it just and luckily there's more and more people doing it. There's more and more companies coming out doing stuff like that. You have stuff like the Humpter now from that they're doing.
Oh yeah.
There's obviously, the Danny Max, the Toad. Joe has his. Um, you know, Top DJ out in California. They're doing different,
Oh man. They're the ones with
panels and
that the LED booth.
yeah, they have the LED
Oh
wall
yeah.
stuff built in. Jesse has one of those. Um,
Oh yeah.
I think it's really cool that a lot of people are doing stuff like that, and it's becoming more normalized, quote unquote. Just because I think, again, just like anything else, just kind of brings up the class of everybody, gets everybody. Oh no, I don't want the standard look of what everything else is doing, and again, it gives you that additional aspect of being able to sell something. Hey, you can have music videos going throughout your whole experience and all that sort of thing too. So yeah, I think it's
Absolutely. And
pretty cool.
I think it's starting to catch on, especially in a lot of the bigger markets.
Hmm.
Because when we go to places like Atlanta a lot now, it's cases where there's no longer a table there as a standard. Like we walk in and it's like you're setting up over here. There's no table waiting for me, which is cool
Yeah,
because I always have to tell them I don't need that table.
yeah. Hey, I don't need that. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it is a really good thing. Um, so just bringing it back to the thing. So how did you first get hooked up with NLFX? And you said you got a couple of big purchases, obviously with Ben and things like that. So how did that all come about? Where did that all start for you?
So Bean has like this huge cult following that's crazy. Um,
I've
and
noticed that.
there is a reason for it. So Ben is customer service extraordinaire. And for the longest, I actually thought Ben was a robot until I met him in person. I still sometimes think that he might be a robot.
I say I work with him, and I can assure you, he is a robot, and in
So
the best way possible, obviously.
the way I got connected with Ben was for one of my earlier gear purchases. I was looking for a microphone. This was like the first Shure microphone that I bought. And I ended up actually buying, it was a cheaper one, but for me starting out at the time, it was one of my more significant investments.
Mhm.
The amount of time, the fact that I can get a message directly from the CEO or somebody that is interfacing directly with the CEO, that I can talk to him personally sometimes. And the fact that all of you all are just as knowledgeable as he is when it comes to most of the things that we need, uh, that's really what won me over. I was initially buying from some other companies that, they had great prices, but I had some horrible customer service experiences. I'm also looking at, okay, I treat my clients a certain way. When I'm spending money, I expect to be treated a certain way as well.
Absolutely.
And just going through some of the stuff that I've dealt with whether it's something comes in and it's broken. I had something come from Guitar Center one time, and you might take that out. But I had something come from them that was broken one time, and the process wasn't hard, but I didn't feel very valued in the whole exchange of getting things done. But from the first time I went to Ben, to kind of sum it up, I was buying something fairly cheap. Ben handles six-figure orders. I'm sitting here ordering a $300 microphone set, and I'm talking directly with Ben, and he's telling me what frequencies I need, and he sends the information directly to somebody so that they can give me a call. I didn't have to call. They called me to complete my order and get me the stuff shipped overnight. And I'm like, for $300 item, first time buyer, like this is just, it's next level for real. And ever since then, man, it's just like the pricing hasn't been an issue. Like there's great pricing that you all do. A lot of people are always like, okay, NLFX has great customer service. You might not get the best price. No, you probably are going to get the best price on top of great service.
Yeah,
It's
we're gonna
just,
do
it's
the
a
best.
match
We're
made in
gonna do the
heaven.
absolute best we can to get you the best price we can. There might be some, your Sweetwater, your big box store that has a better relationship with a certain company than we do, and they have more buying power than we do, obviously, because they're a lot bigger company. But we can do pretty darn close to what 99% of them can do.
Yeah, and then too, for a company that's my size, support is really big on the back end because there are times where you're going to need to get replacements on equipment. You're going to need to get something taken care of. Soundcraft is a good example. The first Soundcraft mixer that I bought, I want to say it overheated or something. But we had it outside. It was a really hot day, and all of a sudden, couple of my preamps started just cycling through some noise.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit up Ben. Ben throws me in an email chain with Soundcraft directly, and we're talking about a warranty swap through email without me having to initiate that process myself. Like it was just very seamless. Another example is there have been times where I ordered stuff and it's back ordered, and it's like, okay, I need this now. I'll rent them to you. It's like I
Yeah.
got some. Hey, we have some that's over here that I can get to you while you wait for these. And it's like, it's just, I know certain situations are unique. You can't expect the same for every situation, but those are just some of the examples of creative solutions that I've seen. And not that I expect those solutions, but I've never seen anyone even think outside the box like that, especially running a company the size of yours.
Yeah. I really appreciate that, and and I hope our listeners and everything don't ever think like, oh, they're just getting on people who are because they're fans of this and all that kind of stuff. But that's who we want to talk with. We want to talk with the people that support us and do that because we want to support them and promote them because they're helping support us. And we, you guys don't get the gear you need without companies like ours, and obviously we can't exist without awesome customers like you guys. So, um, so it's definitely a beneficial relationship just to keep that great, like you said, the rapport and everything going together. And it
And I'll say
doesn't.
this.
Mhm.
Oh, to the people that you see people that hate us, like the fan people get on their nerves. They feel like everybody is a supporter for no reason. It really says a lot when the people that pay you lots of money. I have never gotten paid by NLFX. I've never
Yeah,
gotten sponsored by NLFX. NLFX takes my money, and I am you all's biggest fan. Like that, there's
that does say
something.
a lot. Yeah. And again, we really appreciate that. And just so anybody's aware, anybody who does talk about our things, a lot of people talk. Rachel was on here a little while ago. She thinks, oh well, NLFX sponsors her. Every piece of equipment that she has is from NLFX. Every gaff tape, she's bought it. We don't sponsor anybody. We I don't want to pay. We don't want to pay for views. I want people who are in those groups and talking about, oh, hey, you need to contact NLFX. That's really what they think. It's not because, oh, well, you sponsor them, you did this, you did that. We don't do that. So, and those are things because we think those are 10 times more valuable. The genuine, hey, these people are fans of ours, um, and they're doing it. And for everybody who does that, post it in groups, all that sort of thing. Thank you. We appreciate it. So,
Yeah, the last thing that I'll say is everyone that I have encountered at NLFX is not only just the business side, man, it's great people. One of the things that Ben presented last year at Harvest of Sound was it's not business, it's personal. And, it's a common flip on the Nino Brown saying, but that is real for him. And you can tell that in his interactions with people. There are other companies that I buy from. Like you all, I can't say you all carry everything. Like there's some fringe products that it's just not
yeah,
an NLFX product. And
absolutely.
I'm cool with the owners of some other companies, and it's still not the same brand, even though they take care of me, they look out for me. It's just something different about the customer relationships that you build. And I model that in what I do. And I learned that from you all as well, because you all build loyalty not just through offering the best support or the best service. You all also build loyalty through being great people and being great contributors to the community.
Yeah, and the going to the different conventions. We were just in at Wedding MBA last week, going to Harvest of Sound, which will be in December, to the Mech show in February. All those different ones that we go to, we go there because we love the community. We want to keep contributing to the community, but it's getting more and more expensive to do all those things. So if you guys still want us to come and do all those things, which we totally want to do, we need your guys' support back. From people like Jabril, the society, all those people. But anybody else listening, we need your support back. I will never tell you that you have to buy every single piece of equipment from us. The only thing that I ever ask is give us a shot. Let us try to earn your business because I don't. and again, people probably get tired of me here saying this. I don't want to create a customer. I want to create a fan. I want to create somebody like Jabril who wants to go out and tell people who are getting into the thing, hey, the people you need to talk to, that's NLFX. That's who you need to talk to. You don't need to talk to anybody else. You can talk to them. Because again, like he said, Ben will talk to you about a $300 microphone the same way he'll quote doing a hospital build out for, six figures. That's just who he is, and that's what he expects from all of us also. And I think
Absolutely.
another part that sets us apart a little bit from everybody else, and I might have said this on here before too. Nobody at NLFX makes any money if they sell you anything. I make the same salary whether I sell Jabril a $300 microphone or if I sell him a $3,000 microphone. That day, I made the same amount of money. So I'm going to sell you the thing that you need, not what you think you need.
Absolutely.
So, um, Jabril, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for being on. It has been an absolute honor to talk to you. I hope you guys have seen some of the pictures and everything that we've had going up throughout this. If you can, give them a shout out. Give them all your social and everything to go check out, to follow you, to see some more of these amazing things that you guys do.
Absolutely. So we're across pretty much every social media platform other than TikTok as Society Online. One
Okay,
word, at Society Online. TikTok, we're the Society Experience. Website, societymE.com. That's society, the word me, like myself.com. And
awesome,
that's where you can check us out, check out our work, and you can connect with me. If you want to connect with me personally, just reach out to me on Facebook. If you search Hollywood J or Jabril, you should come directly to me. I'm in all the groups too.
awesome. Please go follow him. Follow Society. I promise you, you won't be mad. They post some amazing things out there. Jabril, again, thank you so much for being with me. I hope that everything keeps going as awesome for you, because you guys are doing some awesome things out there, and I appreciate everything you do for our community also. Okay.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. We'll have you again on again. Okay.
Awesome, awesome.
Oh, perfect. All right. Have a good night, everybody.